2018, after visiting Nigeria and Ecuador, community leaders from East and Central Africa traveled to the United States to learn about the world's top producer of oil. They were eager to see how a highly developed country differs from a developing country in terms of oil impacts and alternatives.
Nicholas Kagongo are my names. I'm from Uganda, western part of the country.
My name is Diana Naviruma. I'm from Uganda, specifically Central Uganda.
My name is Josue Mukura Kambasu. I am a fisherman from Lake Edward in the Democratic Republic of Congo.
In the Greater Virunga landscape, our government is interested in exploring for oil in protected areas.
That is why we want to anticipate this threat. As a Congolese, I came here to California, as California also has a lot of oil.
I heard that now they are diverting from oil and they are using other sources of energy. So I would like to know to which extent have the people here diverted from the bad energy to clean energy.
First, the visitors learned about local communities' experiences with oil.
Thank you very much for being here in Wilmington in California. This is my neighborhood. When I first moved into this area, I didn't know that this was oil drilling. My parents also didn't know it was oil drilling. I actually got sick. I was always dealing with nosebleeds throughout the night, throughout the day. My pillows would be covered with blood. I actually ended up missing around 2 weeks of school because my eyes were completely swollen shut. My mom had gone to a community meeting, and that's where she learned that other kids in the neighborhood were dealing with impacts like nosebleeds, headaches, watery eyes, and issues where they were also missing school. That's really where I got involved with Communities for a Better Environment.
Ashley and other young people brought a court case against the city of Los Angeles for poisoning their air. One of the primary complaints was environmental racism, that poor, non-white communities were treated worse than others. The youth lawsuit succeeded in getting a new permitting process across the city of Los Angeles.
What inspired you to start this work of being an activist within the community?
I know we deserve better. We deserve everything that white affluent folks deserve or rich folks deserve. It's extremely important that you understand that you are more valuable than the oil that's in the ground, despite what anybody's gonna tell you. Sure, it's black gold, but it's not worth your life and it's not worth your health.
We have seen this from Nigeria, in Ecuador, and now in the US, one of the most developed nations in the world. We are told that oil extraction will make you rich, but what we have seen here is that the poor, the quality of life of the poor is actually worsened by oil extraction.
Next, the visitors learned about the dangers of oil refineries, where oil is processed after being extracted.
What we're looking at here is the Chevron refinery. That's where they heat up the oil and they infuse it with the chemicals like hydrogen, like sulfuric acid to break up the molecules. Anybody who lives downwind like this, that's what we call the cancer belt, from people who get sick from the refinery.
People living near the Richmond refinery have higher rates of cancer, asthma, and skin disease. They're also harmed by accidents, such as an explosion in 2012 when a toxic cloud ignited to become a massive fire. More than 15,000 people went to the hospital because of the explosion. Many are fighting for justice, but they face barriers because of corruption.
One of the most difficult things to fight is corruption, political corruption, where politicians who say they represent the community really end up voting for the corporations. And that's why we had to have a political wing the Richmond Progressive Alliance, in order to not just go there and say, will you guys please do the right thing? So we have to organize the people to do things like voting, to do things like showing up at the Air District, to do demonstrations, to demonstrate people power versus the corporate financial power.
To build their political power, communities in California have elected environmental justice leaders to public office.
I basically became interested in running for office because I didn't think I was being adequately represented. From a humanitarian perspective, in terms of greenhouse gases and climate change, we need to get off oil. But from a local perspective, it's all about health and safety. We need to justly transition to green energy as soon as possible. If you're actually in elected office, you have the power to make the changes that your community actually wants.
California's movement against oil has benefited from the state's long history of community organizing. In the 1960s, California farmers led one of the most important boycotts in history against corporate agriculture. Veterans from this movement now help lead the movement against oil.
I would like to know how you managed to mobilize so many people who are behind you, who try to find the means, the funds, the workers.
The fight is always going to be long because they have the riches, the money, and so we don't have the money, but we have the time. Even though it's taking a lifetime, we know that in the end, we will win.
How do you manage to mobilize so much of the population and find the money? What techniques do you use to ensure that these poor workers resist corruption and do not divide and rule?
In mobilizing, this is one of the things that was very key for the farm worker movement, and that was that the people, the Latinos and the Filipinos, blacks, white, Asian, they went to different places to tell the story, what was happening to our people, and how people were getting beat, how many people they killed, and that is the way that we need to do in order to start getting that support. That's my advice is, tell us the story so that we can unite to support each other.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you too.
To lead the transition away from oil, Californians are focused on clean, renewable energy. NGOs are leading the way in installing solar technology and providing job training in low-income communities.
So I would like to know from you, what is renewable energy?
Now we have the power to use the sun to generate electricity, and I think, as we move forward, that's just going to create so many benefits for us. We need people that's going to install the solar systems. We need people that are going to maintain the solar systems. We're also going to train people as we make this transition so that they can have access to the technology and the training, and those local communities begin to benefit from the fact that the revenues being generated that can go into those communities, which essentially creates other opportunities as well.
The visitors were eager to learn more about how solar energy could benefit poor and rural communities.
Could you tell me whether it's possible for women to participate in the solar energy industry based on your experiences?
I think it's necessary for women to get involved in the solar industry as it's beginning to grow. The solar industry needs a wide range of skills because it's growing at such a rapid rate, from construction to designing to partnership development to administrative office type of skill sets. And I think it's an opportunity for people from all walks of life to really jump in.
What we have seen here is that the women have harnessed their power. I come from a community where women are not expected to engage in hard labor. But in order for women to ensure that their communities are clean, that their children are getting clean air, that their water is safe, women need to do the hard lifting as well. Women can get on the roof and fix solar panels. So we shouldn't think that we can't, because when we think that way, then we are going to be left out of the job market and we won't be part of the solution to climate change.
In Africa, we want oil to be replaced by renewable energy. In order to fight climate change, we want that communities and even investors can invest a lot in the green economy.
The American activists, they are very strong. They don't fear to speak to the population and to the oil companies. And what I've learned from them is that we cannot allow these oil companies to come in Uganda and rape our country.